who you want to head to next year on our safety list?
So let's keep it in the SEC. Let's talk about a very interesting prospect that I really, really liked when I turned the film on, and that was Brian Branch. He's a free safety for Alabama. I loved the athleticism. He's running a 4.58, but his 10-yard split looked really good. His broad jump looked good. Decent for not great, but decent vertical. Some of the things that he did, the production on the field, he was able to generate 90 tackles this year, 55 last year. He had 14 tackles for loss and 3 sacks this year. I mean, he's making plays all over the field. This kid can move. Like, you watch him on film and you think he's faster than he is. I just love the way he flies around. I also love the way that he makes plays on the ball. I mean, he's got 7 passes defended this year, 9 last year. I mean, he's almost doubled what a lot of these players have done in the pass defended department. So he's really showed out in every way. You figure a guy that's got that kind of ability in coverage, and then you look at the 14 tackles for loss and 3 sacks. I mean, with 90 tackles, this kid had a really big year for Alabama this year, and I think he could be one of the more intriguing prospects in this class. I mean, he's just talked about having sort of a Christopher Smith trajectory going the wrong way. This is a guy whose trajectory on my boards for Brian Branch is going the right way, and has been going the right way ever since I started putting the film on and watching some of the things that he did. So I'm very curious to see where he lands. I think he's a very good prospect, and even for fantasy purposes, I think the things he does well will translate.
He is probably at the top of my safeties at the moment, and I think he's probably going to be the highest drafted safety.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, but it really feels like he's a first round pick, and if he falls into the 20s, I think that's probably the sweet spot, but he could even go into the teens there. He's a guy that can sort of do it all. And I don't like saying can't miss, because I think that gives the wrong connotations, but I think he's a can't miss in the sense of he's not just going to bust out of the NFL. He's a smart player. He's got range. He's fast. He's got good strength. He can just do everything that you want him to. Now, whether or not that translates to fantasy production, that's going to be a matter of a whole lot of different other things. Is he able to get on the field as a rookie? What team is he on? Or the linebacker? All sorts of stuff. But of note, also, he was number 4 in PFF's college coverage ratings for safeties with an 86.4 last year, which was fantastic. And there's a couple other guys that were on that top 5 we'll talk about later on. But yeah, I mean, you can nitpick and try to find something someone can improve upon, even veterans in the NFL. But in terms of rookies, he sort of kind of feels like the complete package that you'd want for a guy coming into the league at this point. So yeah, I really like him too. And we're going to talk about, since we're already there, his safety defensive backfield mate, Jordan Battle. Jordan was also a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, 22 years old. He played 4 years at Alabama, first team All SEC in 21 and 22, third team AP All American this year. He's got decent size too, 6'1", about 210. So he's got that going for him. He just wasn't as impressive to me when you compare him to Brian Branch. And I know a lot of people have Jordan Battle up there. Some people are talking him in the first round. I don't see that myself, and I don't think that's probably going to happen with the other positions we have here. It feels more like a day 2 guy as well. He sort of checks all the boxes, and he's fine at everything, but he didn't seem to do any one thing in an elite way that you'd kind of want to hang your hat on. So certainly a place for him in the NFL. He was number 5 on that list for college productions with PFF or coverage with an 85.2. And yeah, I mean, he's certainly fine. I think he's probably going to have a long career in the NFL. One of the things I saw, his pursuit led a little to be lacking, and compared to Brian Branch, certainly his tackling wasn't as explosive or consistent, but nothing that's going to be a problem, I don't think, at the next level if he ends up being a starter, and I think he probably will at some point, but he just wasn't as exciting to me than Brian, and I'm curious to see if you think the same.
Yeah, I think the thing that helps him out is he actually did really, really well in his testing. He ran a 4.540, 4.5540. But his 10-yard split looked really good. 20-yard split looked good. His height, weight, even his bench press. I mean, he put up 17 reps on bench. So he did a lot of things. He tested really well, but I think the other thing is, he's pretty consistent, right? So 71 tackles in 2022, 85 in 2021, 66 in 2020. He was pretty solid and pretty consistent for Alabama. And while he doesn't really do one thing extremely well at an elite level, like obviously Brian Branch, has some of those qualities where you look at it and you go like, oh wow, this is like he's really good. Um, the one thing that Jordan Battle does is he's consistent and he feels pretty safe, right? And he feels like he will have a spot in the NFL somewhere, just because he is a well-rounded player. I mean, he's not a complete package, if you will, but it's very balanced what you're going to get from him, very consistent. And I think teams are going to like that, especially from a strong safety. You like a guy who's consistent for you, who can make plays, tackling especially. Not really the greatest in coverage. You wouldn't have to rely on him as much for that, I don't think. But he was a good pairing with Brian Branch. And I think he
Yeah.
complemented Brian Branch really well. That was the one thing that I kept seeing on film was like, and these guys they complement each other really well. So while he does do some things different from Brian Branch, it's hard to compare him against Brian Branch because I agree with you. I mean, he does seem like the best safety in football. And it's close, but Brian Branch is he's got a pretty good head start. But compared to the field, I mean, Jordan Battle, I think I probably have him in my top 3 or 4 when I look at this list.
Yeah, I think again, he's probably in my top 5. I don't want to speak out of turn. You can go to RotoHeat.com, find all of our IDP rankings for our rookies, and combined with offense, we're updating those about every 2 weeks or so. We have another update coming out soon, so you'll see names changing, coming on the list, falling off the list. Each of us, Brad, who you saw a couple weeks ago, Austin and I rank 50 apiece, and you can see all of them listed on there, but that's changing pretty regularly, especially when you get down towards the end of the list. And I agree, there's certainly a place for him in the NFL. He'll probably have a long career. I guess it just wasn't as exciting to me watching him compared to what you saw from Brian Branch on the field. But on the other hand, like you said, the testing for Jordan Battle, positional wise, was much better. And the NFL does pay attention to that stuff. Now, they're not going to completely discount a great player on the field that's productive, coming from a great college, great pedigree like, Brian Branch. But Jordan Battle will be fine. And he has the better name. Jordan Battle is just a great name for a safety
It
in
is a
today's
great
NFL.
name. It is a great name.